Finally, God is exposing your son. What he's been hiding will shock you. Archangel Michael says the truth is about to break your heart before it sets you free. Archangel Michael says, "Dear child, this message come to you, that's not your imagination. That's not just your anxiety or worry. That is the presence of the Most High calling your attention. And I, Archangel Michael, have been sent to speak to you, not through dreams this time, not through soft impressions, but directly. Because heaven says, it is time. So watch this message completely so that you will get to know the truth about your son. There is something about your son, something you felt in your bones but couldn't bring yourself to name. You've seen shadows in his eyes when he avoids your questions. You've noticed the way his voice changes when he lies, not dramatically, no. Subtly. As if he believes you'll never catch on. He's been hiding something. And heaven has seen it all. Why now, Michael? Why is this secret only coming to light in this moment? And I tell you, because you are finally ready. You may not feel ready. You may feel fragile, tired, worn. But heaven sees strength in you, forged by the battles you thought would break you years ago. Every hardship you've endured, every night you cried out wondering if God heard you, He did. And those tears became the preparation for this very revelation. I must be blunt, for time is not on our side. Your son has been walking down a road far from the light. And though your heart wants to believe the best of him, and I do not blame you, for such is the love of a parent, there are things he's been doing, speaking, agreeing to, that are calling forth spiritual consequences. He didn't get here in a day. And this message is not one of condemnation, but it is one of exposure. For what has been done in darkness will soon scream in daylight. You've prayed, haven't you? You've said, Lord, if there's something I must know, please show me. This is that moment. The answer is here. God is showing you. And though it may shatter illusions, it will set your soul free. The enemy has long desired to wrap chains around your son, chains of shame, secrecy, and silence. But those chains are being shattered in the spirit even as I speak. Not by might, not by human confrontation, but by divine declaration. Type Amen 987 to get the blessings. Do not look away now. Do not silence your discernment. Do not dismiss the inner alarms. The truth is coming, and it will not be delayed. What your son has hidden is far more dangerous than you know, but heaven is intervening. Stay with me. I will walk you through this. This is not the end of your son's story. But it is the end of the lie. Now, breathe. And prepare. Archangel Michael says. You remember the light in his eyes, don't you? The joy he once carried? As a child, your son had a glow that reminded you of innocence, of heaven, of something sacred and unspoiled. He laughed without fear. He dreamed without limits. And you watched over him with fierce love, praying nothing in this world would stain that purity. But something did. Your son began to drift, slowly at first. You may have blamed it on age, stress, or rebellion. But I am here to tell you, what you called a phase was actually a spiritual diversion, a carefully crafted strategy of the enemy to pull him into silence, secrecy, and sin. And now, he's hiding. Yes, beloved, hiding from you, from God, and even from himself. He has convinced himself that what he's doing is manageable, that no one is being harmed, that he can control it. But you know the nature of darkness, it doesn't ask for all at once. It whispers, just this once, and then comes back for more. He's not just struggling with temptation. No. He's made agreements, conscious or not, with things that war against his divine calling. There are decisions he's made, words he's spoken, actions he's taken that carry weight in the spirit. And while he thinks he's keeping it hidden, heaven has seen every single thing. Type Amen 837 to get the blessings. There are messages he's deleted, relationships he's covered up, behaviors he's disguised. He's become a master of duality, smiling in front of you, breaking in secret. He does not yet know how close he is to a dangerous collapse. But I know. I've seen it. And heaven can no longer remain silent. You must understand this truth: exposure is not God's wrath, it is God's mercy. Because if the veil is not torn now, your son may walk into a pit so deep, even you won't recognize the person he becomes. He is on the verge. The path beneath his feet is crumbling, and what he thinks is control is actually captivity. He doesn't know it yet, but soon, he will have to face everything he's tried to avoid. Do not mistake this message as condemnation of your son. I do not come to curse. I come to warn and prepare. For a season of uncovering is here, and heaven will no longer allow what has been hidden to fester in the dark. Your son may resist. He may deny. He may even blame you when truth confronts him. But do not fear his reaction. Fear what will happen if this continues without divine interruption. That interruption begins now. Archangel Michael says, God is about to shine a light into every hidden corner. And when he does, the silence will be shattered. The mask will fall. The truth will break your heart, but it will save your son's soul. Will you stay with me through this storm? Then brace yourself. Type Amen 765 to get the blessings. Because what he's been hiding is about to be revealed. Let me take you back to a moment, one that may seem insignificant to the natural eye but shook the spiritual realm when it occurred. It was not loud. There was no thunder or flashing light. Just a simple choice, a quiet agreement made in the shadows of your son's heart. It was a day like any other. The sun rose. The world went on. You might have been in the next room or miles away. But your son stood at a crossroad, ****, a spiritual fork in the road, ****, and what he chose that day became the beginning of a hidden journey. He was tempted. Not just by a desire for pleasure or rebellion, but by a whisper that promised relief. Escape. Power. Belonging. Something deep within him was aching, perhaps from rejection, perhaps from failure, perhaps from a lie planted long ago. And in that vulnerable moment, he reached for something forbidden. Was it a person? A substance? A website? A secret opportunity wrapped in flattery and false freedom? He didn't think it was dangerous. That's the nature of the trap. The enemy rarely shows the cage, he paints the door in gold and calls it a reward. And your son, he walked through that door. It wasn't the first time he felt drawn to darkness. But it was the first time he didn't turn away. And when he said yes to that secret, he unknowingly said yes to a chain. One link at a time, he's been bound by that decision ever since. And here's what you must understand, it wasn't just a moral mistake, it was a spiritual transaction. He opened a door that allowed spirits of deception, shame, and confusion to enter. They have whispered to him ever since. Type Amen 987 to get the blessings. Archangel Michael says, you're already too far gone. If they find out, they'll never look at you the same. This is who you are now. He believes some of those lies, even now. And because of that one moment, he began constructing a false version of himself, a mask he wears with confidence, charm, or silence. You've seen it. You've felt it. Something in him changed. And yes, your spirit noticed. You may not have known the details, but your heart tightened around that time. You felt uneasy. You had dreams. Visions. You even questioned yourself, wondering if you were just imagining things. You weren't. That day, the day he opened that door, marked a shift in his destiny. But God, in his mercy, has not let the enemy complete the plan. That's why I am here now. To tell you, the chain is about to snap. The door will be closed. But first, the truth must be exposed. Do not fear the truth of that day. Let it rise to the surface. Let the tears come if they must. Because what began with a secret, will end in a deliverance. You must remember this moment, because when the truth is revealed, you'll finally see how far your son had wandered, and how far heaven is willing to go to bring him back. Type Amen 987 to get the blessings. You've asked yourself the question more than once, why didn't I see it? You've replayed conversations in your mind, moments when his voice trembled, or his eyes darted away. You remember the times you felt something was off, but you brushed it aside. You called it stress, exhaustion, or growing pains. You told yourself, he's just going through something. It'll pass. But deep down, your spirit knew something was hiding beneath the surface. And yet, heaven kept the full truth veiled, until now. Let me explain what was happening in the unseen. There are moments when God, in his wisdom, withholds full revelation from you, not to punish you or keep you in the dark, but to protect your heart and prepare your spirit. Because if you had seen the truth too soon, it might have broken you. Archangel Michael says, you might have confronted your son from a place of raw emotion instead of divine wisdom. You might have reacted in fear, or worse, tried to fix something that God was not finished dealing with. Heaven knew your heart, how fiercely you love, how deeply you feel, and heaven waited until you could bear the truth not with rage or panic, but with discernment. You were being trained in silence. Type Amen 654 to get the blessings. Every time you stayed up at night praying for your son. Every tear that fell when you felt him slipping away. Every battle you fought without knowing the details. All of it was not in vain. Heaven was strengthening you behind the veil. You see, exposure is not just about revealing your son's secrets, it's about activating your role in his redemption. And if this unveiling had come at the wrong time, it could have torn your family apart. But now, you are ready. You may feel unsure, fragile, angry even. But from heaven's view, your armor has been forged. You are not who you were a year ago. You've grown. You've matured in prayer. You've survived storms that should have crushed you. And now, you can carry this revelation, not as a burden, but as a battle cry. Your son is still within reach. But the window is closing. The enemy's grip is tightening. And that is why God could wait no longer. You had to know, and you had to know now. I bring this message not to cast blame, but to awaken purpose. You are being called to stand in the gap, not just as a parent, but as a spiritual gatekeeper. You are chosen not to weep over what was lost, but to fight for what can still be reclaimed. This is why you're hearing my voice. This is why your heart is racing. This is why you haven't been able to shake that uneasy feeling. Because heaven has finally said, reveal it. Now. And now that you know, everything changes. Type Amen 645 to get the blessings. Archangel Michael says, listen closely now, beloved, for this part may disturb you, but it will also empower you. You see, your son is not merely fighting private temptations or personal mistakes. No. What he has walked into is part of a larger, darker strategy, one that the enemy has been weaving for generations. His current struggles are not isolated, they are ancestral echoes, designed to repeat patterns of pain and loss that have touched your family line before. There is a thread, perhaps you've noticed it. A string of broken men. Hidden addictions. Unspoken betrayals. Silence where there should have been healing. Maybe it was a grandfather who walked away from the faith. An uncle entangled in criminal dealings. A cousin whose life was swallowed by shame or substance. This is not coincidence. It is warfare. And your son, he was marked by God to be the breaker of that cycle. The enemy saw that. He knew the weight your son carried, even before your son did. That's why the attack came so subtly, so early. The enemy whispered lies not just into your son's ears, but into his dreams, his fears, and his identity. You'll never be good enough. You're just like the others. You don't belong. God won't really use someone like you. Lies. Strategic, sharp, and persistent. And because your son didn't know how to fight them spiritually, he began to agree with them in secret. That agreement became a foothold. That foothold became a stronghold. And from that place, the enemy began constructing a fortress, designed to block your son's purpose and cripple your family's spiritual inheritance. Yes, this goes beyond your son's decisions. This is about your family's divine calling. You were meant to be a family of light bearers. Warriors. Intercessors. Kingdom builders. And the enemy knew that if he could confuse just one, discourage just one, isolate just one, he could try to poison the line. But I have news for you. He failed. Type Amen 5434 to get the blessings. Because heaven has sounded the alarm. Because you are awakening. Because you are not just a bystander, you are a defender of destiny. This curse will not pass to another generation. The line is being redrawn. The stronghold is being exposed. And though your son may feel lost right now, God is orchestrating an intervention that the enemy cannot stop. Archangel Michael says, but you must act. You must pray with fire. You must speak the truth in love, not fear. You must walk in discernment and not emotional reaction. Because the battle over your son is a battle over legacy. Over inheritance. Over everything God has promised your family line. Now, rise in spirit. This is no longer about pain. It's about prophecy. Type Amen 543 to get the blessings. You see him walk into the room, and you wonder, is he okay? Sometimes he smiles. Sometimes he talks. He says he's fine. But the words feel mechanical. His eyes don't match his tone. And your spirit knows, he's not telling you everything. And you're right. He's not. But not because he doesn't trust you. It's because he doesn't trust himself anymore. Deep beneath the bravado, beyond the mask, your son is silently breaking. His soul is caught between two worlds, the darkness that's pulling him deeper, and the light he secretly hopes is still within reach. Archangel Michael says, he wants to tell you. He's rehearsed it. Many times. But every time he tries to open his mouth, shame pulls the words back down. What if they see me differently? What if I disappoint them? What if I can't go back once I say it? So he chooses silence. But child of God, heaven hears the noise beneath the silence. I, Archangel Michael, have been dispatched because your son's soul is crying out. Not with words, but with desperation. He may not be able to speak it yet, so I've come to speak it for him. He's tired. He feels lost. He wants to be free, but he doesn't know how to begin. He needs you, not just as a parent, but as a spiritual anchor. He doesn't need judgment. He's already judging himself. He doesn't need pressure. He's already buried under the weight of his own decisions. What he needs is your presence. Your patience. Your prayers. And your willingness to see past the exterior and into the battlefield raging within him. Type Amen 533 to get the blessings. Archangel Michael says, don't be fooled by his distance, it's not rebellion. It's fear. Fear that he's already beyond redemption. Fear that you'll never look at him the same way again. Fear that God is done with him. God is not done. In fact, this is just the beginning of your son's turnaround. And you, chosen one, are being invited to play a sacred role in his return. Not by force. Not by demand. But by spiritual listening. Because in every silence, in every shrug, in every late-night moment when he avoids your eyes, he is crying. Please, don't give up on me. And heaven hasn't. God has heard him. Even when your son said nothing. Even when he wept alone. Even when he believed no one would understand. And so, beloved, I ask you now. Will you answer the cry he cannot yet voice? Will you love him through this valley, not because he's perfect, but because he's still chosen? If you do, that love, backed by heaven's fire, will become the sword that breaks his chains. Type Amen 765 to get the blessings. Stay close. The moment of confession is coming. And when it does, you'll know it was heaven that softened his heart, and your love that gave him the courage to speak. Brace your heart, beloved, because what is coming next will be raw, emotional, and divinely orchestrated. The confrontation is near, not the kind born of rage or accusation, but the kind heaven sends when it is time for light to flood the hidden places. There will be a moment, perhaps unexpected. A conversation that begins casually, but suddenly shifts. It may be triggered by something small, a question, a slip of the tongue, a tear your son doesn't have time to hide. And in that sacred crack in the wall, truth will pour out. Archangel Michael says, not all at once. Not smoothly. But it will come. Your son will likely resist at first. Denial is the first instinct of the wounded. He may deflect. He may get angry. He may even accuse you of not trusting him. Don't let that shake you, it is not truth speaking, but fear. Then, the tremble. There will be a moment when his voice shakes. When his eyes fill. When his shoulders fall like the weight he's been carrying finally becomes too heavy to bear. And in that breaking, the mask will fall. This is the moment, beloved. Do not interrupt it. Do not rush to fix it. Let the tears come. Type Amen 311 to get the blessings. Because those tears are not signs of weakness. They are signs of release. Archangel Michael says, he will say things that shock you. He may admit actions, thoughts, secrets you never imagined he carried. It will hurt. It may feel like betrayal. But I need you to understand this. The truth is not your enemy, it's your ally. Every word spoken in that moment, every truth that breaks free from his lips, is a key turning in the lock of his chains. The very confession that shatters your expectations is also the sound of bondage losing its grip. You must prepare now, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Ask heaven for the grace to respond not with rage, but with righteous compassion. Your son does not need to be punished in that moment. He will already be broken. He needs to know there is still a path home. Do not minimize the truth, but do not magnify the shame. Speak life into the void that confession leaves behind. Say these words with your spirit, even if your voice shakes. I still love you. And heaven still calls you. Because those two truths will rebuild what guilt tried to burn down. Type Amen 3221 to get the blessings. Remember, this confrontation is not an accident. It is a divine appointment. A window of heaven's timing opening briefly to bring healing that's been delayed too long. So when that moment arrives, step into it with courage. With love. With fire in your spirit and gentleness in your voice. Because what breaks open in that room will become the very place where restoration begins. You've waited for this. You've prayed for this. And heaven has answered, not with silence, but with truth. Truth that breaks. Truth that heals. Truth that saves. Now that the truth has broken open, what comes next may surprise you. Archangel Michael says. Because many believe that exposure is the end. That once secrets are revealed, relationships shatter, futures crumble, and dignity dies. But heaven says otherwise. Exposure is not the end. It is the altar. The place where false identity is burned away, and true calling is ignited. Your son is not lost. He is being reborn. From the very beginning, God had marked your son, not for destruction, but for destiny. Before the lies, before the mistakes, before the wounds, your son was a chosen vessel. And heaven has not forgotten. Yes, the enemy tried to derail his path. Yes, your son made mistakes. But mercy is stronger than rebellion. Type Amen 4543 to get the blessings. Your son will rise from this fall, not in the image of who he used to be, but in the image of who God always intended him to become. A man of integrity. A voice of restoration. A breaker of generational chains. Do you not see it? The very pain he walked through will become the platform of his testimony. The very shame that sought to bury him will become the soil where his calling takes root. And you will witness it. Archangel Michael says. There will come a day, sooner than you imagine, when your son stands before you, not as the boy who lied or the man who wandered, but as one who has wrestled with darkness and chosen the light. He will look you in the eye, with tears maybe, and say, "Thank you for not giving up on me." That moment will be worth every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered in the middle of the night, every moment you doubted whether restoration was even possible. And more than that, others will see it too. People who saw your son fall will watch him rise. Those who judged him will stand in awe. Those who gossip will grow silent as the evidence of God's hand becomes undeniable. And through your son's journey, others will be healed. Your family will shift. The old cycles will break. New blessings will begin. Because what the enemy meant for evil, God is using for glory. Archangel Michael says. I leave you with this, beloved. Do not be afraid of what you now know. Do not run from the pain. Hold on to your son with faith, and hold on to God with fire. Type Amen 876 to get the blessings. This battle is not over, but the victory has already been declared. The moment you heard my voice, the heavens moved. Chains began to crack. And your son's spirit,